Good morning and welcome into A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Morning Live here from Lot R, right outside of Nissan Stadium with the pedestrian bridge just over there. We are coming to you from the Gary Ashton RE/MAX Advantage tailgate. They have all sorts of fun stuff going on for you guys. If you're coming to the game, coming off of the pedestrian bridge right over there, come over here to Lot R. It's where you need to be as we get going this morning ahead of Titans versus Dolphins. I am Luke Worsham, Titans reporter for A to Z Sports. Good morning, Mark. I can't pull the comments up because I'm wearing gloves and it won't touch on the phone. But good morning, Jason. Good morning, Nick. Good to see everyone piling in this morning. You know what we're going to do today? The same thing we do every single week on this show. We're going to talk about 3 keys to a Titans win. Because if the Titans win today's game, they don't just win today's game. They win the AFC South. Huge game, obviously, because of that, for the Titans with a chance to lock up the division and a home playoff game with a win today. Mike Vrabel always says that the path to winning the Super Bowl starts with hosting playoff games. And with a win today, the Titans can do that. We're going to talk about how they can make that happen. We're brought to you this morning by Two Rivers Ford, by Gary Ashton's team at RE/MAX Advantage, and by DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's get going this morning. Key number 1 to a Titan. I feel like this has been a key, and I said this last week when we previewed Titans versus 49ers. I feel like this has been a key in at least half of the episodes of this that we have done throughout the season. Titans have to win the turnover battle in today's game. Now, generally, that is a very cliche key to a game. You know, I saw a tweet the other day. It's like, you know, a lot of times you turn into these keys to the game shows and they say something generic like don't turn a football over. And I agree, right? Typically, that is a very generic statement. It is a very generic key for the game. But with this Titans team and what we have seen them do throughout the 2021 season, it is not generic. Because what we know about this Titans team is that if they don't turn the ball over, or if at the very least they win the turnover battle, they've got a pretty darn good team. A vast majority of the games that the Titans lost this season were games where they either lost the turnover battle or had some kind of meltdown turnover performance. You know, it's pretty cold out here today, and it's going to be raining, and that evokes memories of the Texans game from a month or so ago that the Texans lost when, if you count turnover on downs, the Titans turned the ball over 7 times in that game and lost to a really bad Texans team. So, with that being the case, and what we know from the Titans this season, let's see, people say the video is frozen. I'm going to hop out and come right back in. Don't go anywhere. We'll see if this fixes. All right, hopefully that fixes the video, and we are back today for Titan Game Day Morning Live. Let me know if the video is fixed. I know that the audio was working regardless, but hopefully hopping out and coming back in like that fixed the video. All right, fantastic. So, but, you know, we know with this Titans team, again, they win the turnover battle, they often win the game. They lose the turnover battle or have a meltdown performance, they often don't lose the game. So, that being the case, you know, it sounds like a generic key, you know, to win the turnover battle. But with what we've seen from the Titans this year, it's not generic. It is very specific to what this team does and doesn't do well, and that is the need to win the turnover battle. So that's key number 1 to the Titans clinching the AFC South in today's game. A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Morning Live here ahead of Titans versus Dolphins. Good to see everyone in here today. Before we get into key number 2, which is going to stay with the offense, you know, we talk about not turning the football over. We're going to stay with the offense for key number 2. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Two Rivers Ford. We talk about Two Rivers Ford every week on this show. And the reason we talk about them every week is because they are the best car buying experience in the Nashville area. And here's why. Because when you shop at Two Rivers Ford, you shop, with non-commission salespeople. You know what happens when you shop with commission salespeople? You get harassed, you get pestered, and you get pressured into making a decision that isn't the best for you and for your family. If you're someone like me who's not afraid to spend money, but also wants to make good decisions and be very wise about how you spend money, and you want to take the time, right, and think about the decision, Two Rivers Ford is where you need to go, because more than anything else, they want you to be satisfied and they want you to be comfortable. And best of all, if you're shopping at Two Rivers Ford and there's a specific color or model you're looking for that they don't have on the lot, they will order it for you custom. That is their guarantee. So if you're looking to buy a car, go check out Two Rivers Ford. All right, Titan Game Day Morning Live. I'm Luke Worsham at A2ZSports.com. Before we get into key number 2, I will say I see a lot of comments asking about the temperature. You can see I'm wearing gloves. You can see I have on a scarf and my overcoat over my suit. It's not that bad. It's cold. Like, I'm not gonna lie. You can probably see the steam or the coming out of my mouth. It's not that bad. It's supposed to get worse. But as of right now, I'm okay. So just bundle up if you're coming to the game, and you should be all right. Wear a hat too. My ears are getting cold, but I can't wear a hat. It'll mess up the hairdo. Key number 2 to a Titans win and locking up the AFC South is get A.J. Brown in, but early. Everyone knows what A.J. Brown did against the 49ers last week, right? He completely destroyed them. He abused and bullied that 49ers secondary. But the one problem with the Titans deploying of A.J. Brown last week is that they didn't get him involved until the second half. So this week, what I'm looking for the Titans to do, and what I think they have to do, is they've got to get that guy the ball early, right? First drive of the game, I need to see some shots to A.J. Brown, because this guy, as long as Derrick Henry is sitting out, and by the way, there's no Julio today either. He's on the COVID list. As long as this guy is out there, as long as Derrick Henry is sitting out, A.J. Brown is the engine by which this Titans offense goes. Do you remember how broken and horrific the Titans offense looked before they got A.J. Brown going? Right? It was a disaster in the football. When they finally started getting him involved, it looked like an offense that could actually move the football, that could sustain drives. And so, with that being the case, they've got to get this guy the ball early and often. Again, it's not just about the number of targets, it's about when the targets start to happen. And those targets need to start to happen early. Everyone's saying the video is frozen again. We're going to try the same thing we just did. We're going to hop out. Everyone stay put. And we'll see if we can't get this fixed again. All right, we're back. Hopefully the video has restored itself, and we're all good as we continue going this morning on Titan Game Day Morning Live. So we talked about our first 2 keys. Key number 1 was to win the turnover battle, because we know that when this Titans team wins the turnover battle, they win football games. Second key was get A.J. Brown involved, not just often, but early, because when A.J. Brown is not involved, this Titans offense is broken fundamentally. When he is involved, they can actually move the ball, sustain drives, and score points. Key number 3, we're going to switch sides of the ball. We're going to talk about the defense, but first, I want to tell you about the guy whose face is on this trailer behind me, and that is Gary Ashton, and his team is at RE/MAX Advantage. Gary is the official real estate agent of the Tennessee Titans and the Nashville Predators, and he holds those distinctions for a reason. If you've ever driven around Nashville, you've undoubtedly seen Gary's billboards, and they all say the same thing. They say, don't sell without the intel. And there's a reason that Gary is able to make that his catchphrase. It's because he has the intel to give you, right? Because of his relationships, because of his experience, Gary Ashton is the best competitive advantage you can give yourself if you're looking to buy or sell in the Nashville area. And these days with the real estate market as hot and competitive as it is, you need that competitive advantage, right? You need to put yourself in the best position to succeed. And the best way to do that is by getting in touch with Gary Ashton and his team. And you can do that by going to GaryAshton.com. As we keep going on A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Morning Live, key number 3 to a Titans win in today's game is to force Tua Tagovailoa to make mistakes. Tua Tagovailoa is one of the most underwhelming starting quarterbacks in the NFL. This guy does not really make things happen, and he makes mistakes. In most of the games in which he has played this season, he has turned the ball over. And so, as a Titans defense, you need to force him into those mistakes. And the interesting thing about this Titans defense is because of the strength of the front four and how they're able to get pressure with four, they very rarely blitz. And so I think the best way to make that happen, to force Tua Tagovailoa into mistakes, is that you simply get home with those four and you make him be erratic because of the pressure that you're getting with four and the fact that you're able to drop 7 into coverage off of that. But this is a guy who the Titans defense should not fear. This is a guy who you take chances against. You're not scared of Tua Tagovailoa ruining your day if you give him opportunities. This is a guy who you want to take chances with. You want to force him into mistakes, and you want to make his life difficult, because if you do, bad things are going to happen for the Dolphins offense. And this plays right into the turnover battle. Again, if the Titans win the turnover battle, they win football games. And so key number 3 is force Tua Tagovailoa to make mistakes. We've still got to go our best bet of the game, and Buck Rising will join us in just one moment. But first, I want to tell you who is bringing us our best bet of the game. That is DraftKings Sportsbook, and they've got a great deal going on for you right now, because if you put $1 on any NBA team to win outright, and that happens, that $1 can become $150 in free bets. But that is only with the promo code A2Z Sports. Use that at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. And one bet that I think you need to make if you head to DraftKings.com/sportsbook is for Tua Tagovailoa to go over 0.5 interceptions in today's game. Ties right in with our third key. Tua Tagovailoa is someone who makes mistakes. He is someone who gives the ball to the defense, and so you can expect that to happen in today's game. I think it's a pretty safe bet that Tua is going to turn the ball over at least once. So go hit that up on DraftKings.com/sportsbook. And again, you can use the promo code A2Z Sports, again, for $1 on any NBA team to win outright. And when that happens, that $1 becomes $150 in free bets. I'm told again that though the audio is working, the video is frozen. So we are going to fix that once more. And when we come back, Buck Rising will join us on A2Z Sports Titan Game Day Morning. All right, Buck Rising.
What's going on, buddy?
Now we've got back to 2 mics. We don't have to do the interview style anymore.
You know, that was kind of flattering to have you interview me. I know that was probably a bit degrading, but it's lovely to be back. The Gary Ashton tailgate, I'm sure Luke's told you, right in front of the south end zone at Nissan Stadium. They got free food, and if you're coming, if you donate $10 or more, you can be entered to win a free Kevin Byard signed football for the Kicks for Kids program that they have going on to raise money to get some foster children some shoes this holiday season. So great stuff being done here at the Ashton team.
And the pedestrian bridge is literally right there.
Right
so
there.
I know most of you are going to be heading this way.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no, Buck? This Dolphins team is fraudulent.
No, I mean, they're not fraudulent. Like the schedule has been weak. The quarterbacks have been underwhelming, but the defense is on in an even playing field. Great. Like the defense is really, really good. They're aggressive, and they figured out ways to make Tua super efficient, and he's done that outside of these weird, these mind-boggling interceptions that he throws where you don't understand what he's seeing.
We've all seen the stat this week where they, the only team ever to have a 7-game win streak and lose streak. Like, what happened? Did they figure it out? And that's why I tend to think that they just started to hit a patch of easy quarterbacks. The best quarterback they played is Lamar Jackson, and I don't even think he finished that game.
Well, and that's a part of every NFL season, right, where teams get a little bit of an easier stretch. Now, for the Titans, they went 1-3 in their easier stretch of games, so it's no given that you're going to be able to win. There's only one team in the history of the NFL that's ever done what the Dolphins have done, to lose 7 straight and then win 7 straight. Now, this is the first time that we've had a 17-game regular season, 18 weeks. So that allows for a little more possibility for that. But no, I don't think they're fraudulent. I think the Titans they're gonna have trouble moving the ball. And the good thing, if you're the Titans today, is the defense that you have has been the best and most consistent thing that you do. And Bud Dupree and Danico Autry both got cleared off of the COVID list.
Devontae Parker, bigger receiver. I feel like Christian Fulton can do a good job of handling him. If I'm the Titans, what I'm most scared about this Dolphins team is Waddle.
Yeah, and when you talk about have they found ways to kind of make things work, a big part of that is Waddle and Mike Gesicki, the tight end, who I know everybody at Titans practice spent time talking to Mike Vrabel about this week, who he's got a lot of respect for. I mean, he's Jarvis Landry, but more athletic. If you remember Jarvis Landry's career with the Dolphins, with Ryan Tannehill as quarterback, it was, it'd be 10 catches for 80 yards or something like that, or 10 catches for 65 yards. Like, they're not getting in big chunk plays down the field. And big plays don't always come from just brutal arm strength like Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. They can come with yards after contact, yards after catch, and Waddle has incredible straight line speed, play speed. I
got 2 more things I want to talk about. First, let's throw it back a little bit, because the last time the Titans played the Dolphins, Ryan Tannehill was the Dolphins quarterback.
Yep.
It was also the longest game in NFL history.
And Mike Vrabel's first game.
It was my first game with A to Z. You were still with 102.5 at that point.
That sounds right.
What do you remember about that game? I just remember wanting to take a nap, but being so afraid that I wouldn't wake up before it came back.
Oh, my God. I remember that game being like it felt like the season was over in one game.
Well, it kind of was.
I mean, it did feel that way, right?
The quarterback had the nerve injury, Mariota. Lawan had the body bag concussion. Delaney Walker's ankle snapped in half.
Yeah,
it was a medley of pain.
And a total of 4 hours of weather delays that were interrupted with a little bit of play in between. I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, I remember that being the longest football experience of my life, and it literally was the longest experience in NFL history. But I do remember that Ryan Tannehill made some big plays down the field in that game, and that not Fat Albert, but Fast Albert Wilson, was able to get a touchdown off. I think he beat Logan Ryan in that game, if I recall, and I'm sure some people are hoping that Logan Ryan gets beat more frequently and more regularly after he took a shot at Titans fan this week.
Before we go out, I do want to talk about Derrick Henry, but from less of an insider perspective, because your friend Diana Rossini just tweeted that he's been jogging in practice this week. They like where he's at, but no decision has been made. But I want to talk about this from a strategic standpoint. Let's say that on Tuesday, right, Frank Piriano goes to Mike Vrabel and says he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Do you play him this week?
Yes, because
the Texans.
And listen, this is I'm not a Jones fracture expert. I'm not a foot doctor. I'm not a foot surgeon. None of these things. But I feel like we've all had a crash course in Jones fracture recovery and surgical procedures at this point. It's not like a hammy. It's not like Julio Jones. If it's good, it's good. If he gets hurt, it's not because the foot broke. I mean, maybe the foot breaks again or something else happens, but it's not going to be because the injury that caused him to miss that time isn't healed. If they clear him, he plays.
There's no aggravation.
No. If he gets hurt again, it's something unrelated, or if it ends up being a foot again, it's not because the injury hasn't healed himself. They medically give him the go-ahead, he's going to be out there. And if that is, and it seems to be trending towards week 18, if that is in a situation where you may clinch the playoffs today, maybe you think about it. But at this point, I mean, Derrick Henry's fresh in week 18. Derrick Henry's fresh for the playoffs. Yeah, give him a little run out there. It's not like it's going to hurt him. I wasn't stopping them before.
You brought up Julio Jones. Would you rather, which Titans career would you rather have, Julio Jones or Kendall Wright?
Ooh, well, yeah, but at the end of the day, Julio Jones still gets to be Julio Jones, and Kendall Wright is still Kendall Wright. So, Kendall Wright had a longer and, frankly, more productive run here in Tennessee. We'll see what happens with Julio. The finances of it don't make it really that smart.
He's going to be here for a little while.
He's going to be here. There's only $1 million, about a little over $1 million in dead cap. Or in salary cap that you free up.
He'll be on the roster. He just might not be in there.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Well, I mean, he hasn't been in there a great deal.
And he won't be today.
This year as well. He will not be today.
Omicron got him.
Yeah, the Omicron got him. And whatever Greek letter comes for us next.
All right, that's going to do it for us today on A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Morning Live. Thanks for hopping on, everyone. Enjoy the game. With a win, Titans get the division, host a playoff game. We'll see you guys next time. Pre-game show 11:30 with Austin and Zach.
Stay warm.